Welcome to KXAN News Today. Here are your Wednesday morning headlines. This morning, nurses with the Central Texans Medical Center in Austin plan to deliver petitions. They'll demand the healthcare system take steps to improve patient care. Last month, nurses held a one-day strike over contract negotiations. And in June, Central Texans Medical Center told us patient safety is its top priority, and it will continue to negotiate in good faith.
A fire near a cemetery in Burnett County is now out after it started around 4 yesterday afternoon. The Happy Ridge fire burned about 30 acres in an area between Ocala and Briggs near FM 2657. They have not said what caused the fire.
You can share your thoughts this morning on Austin's planned budget. Austin City Council is having a community input meeting this morning at 10. Wants to know how you want it to use the $5.5 billion it plans to spend.
A live look right now over downtown Austin. Even though it's very early, it's already hot, pretty sticky. 81 degrees right now. Good morning. I'm Erica Brennis.
And I'm Tom Miller. We have meteorologist Rich Siegel joining us as well. And Rich, it may be a little more hazy than we've seen, and that's because of that Saharan dust.
Not only that, Tom and Erica, but we are also getting reports that we're seeing some of that smoke from the Canadian wildfires too, because we continue with an upper flow that comes out of the north. So a combination of the Saharan dust and the Canadian wildfire dust leaving with a little bit of a haze in the sky today and likely for a few more days to come. But right now, a live look from our KXAN tower cam on our roof here. It is 81 degrees and it is very muggy right now. Dew points are in the 60s and 70s. We'll show you that in about 10 seconds. Here are current temperatures. They're in the upper 70s to low 80s. It's 82 at Georgetown, 80 at Cameron, 78 at San Marcos, Camp Mabry at 81 with a 74-degree dew point. The air very juiced right now. Low to mid 70s throughout the eastern portion of our viewing area. Upper 70s again for Fayette County. And these are the heat indices right now. All in the 80s, and we're going back to about 102 to 106 this afternoon. We'll have more coming up in just a few minutes. Tom and Erica?
Okay, thank you, Rich. Georgetown is addressing complaints about why water restrictions are different for people in different parts of the city.
Right now, customers on the west and the southwest part of town are under stage 3 restrictions. Those limit all outdoor watering to being handheld only. All others are under stage 2. The city's manager says the east and west sides of town have different water plants, and with the west sides being at a higher elevation, because of that, he says it's more challenging to get water processed through the system and stored. He says the city is looking for ways to get water to those still in stage 3. Until then, they may have to wait until September 4th to water their yards again.
Our goal actually is to find ways to pull out of stage 3 for the western side of our water utility. Right now, our system is holding very steady.
Georgetown's water utility director said not everyone is following water restrictions. She says around 150 notices go out every single day. The city's issued 734 violations from May 1st to July 24th. There are an additional 3,295 violations in process.
The Texas Water Company is reacting to allegations it caused Blanco to nearly run out of water. The mayor sending the company a letter saying it chose to cut Blanco's water without restricting other cities in the network. They're now pursuing mediation to resolve a list of issues the city has with the water company. Texas Water Company sent us a statement saying in part, quote, "We understand the city of Blanco's frustration. However, we dispute the statements in the open letter and look forward to mediation to find a mutually acceptable solution for the Texas Water Company and the city of Blanco."
Dale Valley ISD is working to add more security to its schools and meet new requirements from the state. The Texas law says that each campus must have at least one armed security officer present. The district says it's currently meeting requirements at most of its campuses except elementary schools and the Opportunity Center. Last night, the school board discussed the plan but did not vote on it. There are exemptions under this new law. A district can be exempt if it lacks funding, people, or developed its own alternative plan.
We are dedicated to bringing you correct information here at KXAN, and yesterday morning we incorrectly said the Hayes Consolidated Independent School District would have a dozen more officers on campus. However, the Hayes CISD School Board actually approved 3 additional officers, bringing the total to 15. The additional help is going to be from the Hays County Sheriff's Department. Those deputies will be posted at schools across the district.
Republican lawmakers are doubling down on efforts to investigate President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Hunter Biden is scheduled to appear in court today for a plea hearing on federal tax crimes. He's expected to plead guilty as part of a deal with the Justice Department. The investigation isn't just about Hunter Biden. The House Oversight Committee plans to speak with one of Hunter Biden's former business partners who has accused the president of corruption. Congressman Ralph Norman claims he's already seen evidence that implicates President Biden, but the White House insists there is no connection.
The money he's accepted, it appears, what his son's involved with. If that's not pay to play, I don't know what is.
The president was never in business with his son. I just don't have anything else to add.
Some Democrats say this fight is nothing more than political retribution for the impeachments of former President Donald Trump. A U.S. Marine veteran is recovering after getting hurt while fighting in Ukraine.
The State Department confirms Trevor Reed is receiving medical care in Germany. It did not say how Reed got hurt, but did stress he was, quote, not engaged in any activities on behalf of the U.S. government.
Reed had been wrongfully detained in Russia for 3 years before being released as part of a prisoner exchange last year. This morning on Today, Peter Alexander explains how this could have implications on the U.S. government's ability to bring home 2 Americans currently imprisoned in Russia.
Good day to you this morning. We're learning new details about that former U.S. Marine Trevor Reed, who is now in a U.S. military hospital in Germany. He was taken there by a private nonprofit group, an NGO, after he was wounded fighting the Russians in Ukraine. Reed spent nearly 3 years in Russian detention before he was released as part of a prisoner swap last year. And this morning, U.S. officials are expressing real concern that because of his actions, it may make it more difficult for the U.S. government to try to bring home 2 other Americans right now detained in Russia. The Wall Street Journal journalist Evan Gershkovich and the U.S. former Marine Paul Whelan. We'll have the latest on all of it when we see it this morning coming up on Today.
The aftermath of the plane that crashed into a Georgetown home, why crews had to wait before removing it.
And we're looking at some Texas cemeteries that are housing our veterans, and in some cases, why they're getting forgotten. Good morning. A live look up from North Austin. Our Indeed Domain Tower camera looking at a Q2 Stadium this morning. You see little clouds there in the sky. Rich is going to have your full forecast in just a moment. We are still waiting on the Federal Aviation Administration's preliminary report on this plane crash that happened up in Georgetown.
3 people were on board the plane when it crashed on Sunday. Yesterday, the wrecked plane was finally removed off of the roof of that duplex. The city told us it couldn't take it down until then because it needed the all clear from investigators. Now, no one lived at the house, and the 3 people on the plane, they're okay.
The Department of Labor is investigating local McDonald's franchise locations for alleged child labor violations, specifically 4 locations operated by Marwin & Son LLC in Cedar Park, Georgetown, and Leander. Labor Department investigators say the company employed 10 teens, 14 to 15 years old, working hours longer and later than permitted. Investigators also say the franchise allowed 7 minors to perform jobs prohibited or considered hazardous for young workers. So things like using deep fryers or trash compactors. The department handed out more than $20,000 in civil penalties to Marwin & Son. The Labor Department also announcing it found other McDonald's in Louisiana violated similar child labor laws. The proposed change is as hundreds of parking spots get taken away at Austin Zilker Park. Good morning again. A live look outside from the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. Had a free weekend yesterday if you wanted to go check it out. One of the lovely spots around Austin. Another one is going to have hundreds of fewer parking spots out at Zilker Park in the future. Austin's Park and Rec Board deciding to close the polo field to cars starting next summer.
It says it has to be done for environmental reasons. KXAN Sarah Alshay explains the impact on those who use that parking and what other proposed changes could be coming to Zilker.
And I usually find a spot towards the back.
The polo field is one of Zilker Park's largest overflow parking options. The lot holds about 750 spaces. It's where Barton Springs lifeguard Scott Cobb says he parks for work.
Usually it's cars to the very end of to where the street starts over there.
But starting on September 4th, that won't be possible anymore. The City of Austin's Parks and Recreation Board voted to close this area for parking, with the exception of during advance scheduled special events. The main reason? Environmental concerns.
Cars can sometimes break, oil leaks, refrigerant comes out of the car.
This is just one of the most recent changes to Zilker Park. On August 29th, the Austin City Council will discuss several other proposals in the Zilker Park Vision Plan. It includes things like 3 new parking garages, a land bridge over Barton Springs Road, and an amphitheater.
I'm opposed to building parking garages in Zilker Park.
Cobb says instead he'd like an investment in shuttles. That's something Chair of the Parks and Rec Board, Pedro Villalobos, says it's working on.
We are asking City Council to fund a intra-park shuttle to make the park accessible.
While parking is an ongoing issue, Cobb ultimately supports the polo field closing in the hopes it can be restored into a park space.
For people to come to the park and play on it and recreate on it.
Sarah Alsheh, KXAN News.
Villalobos says the Parks and Rec Department will work to figure out when more spots will be available, but they are designating a minimum of 22 staff parking spaces. Right now they have 12 available for 25 staff members.
And with the polo fields closing, one option to get to Zilker Park is a free shuttle. The shuttle runs Saturday and Sunday from now until September 4th. It's from 10 in the morning to 6 in the evening. If you want to catch it, you can park at the One Texas Center parking garage. That's at Barton Springs Road near South 1st Street and Riverside Drive. The shuttle driver will validate your parking, and the shuttle will drop you off at the Zilker Playground. By the way, pets not allowed on the shuttle.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
As Sarah mentioned, next month, Austin City Council will vote on the vision plan for Zilker Park. When the Austin Parks and Rec Board voted on the plan, more than 150 people signed up to speak about it, many against that plan. It includes 3 new parking garages, a land bridge over Barton Springs Road, connecting Barton Springs and Zilker Park, a welcome plaza, and new hike and bike trails. For now, it is just a vision. The vision plan is just a guide. It does not outline detailed designs, construction plans, or costs.
I was trying to think about the last time I was in Zilker Park, and it's been since Trail of Lights.
Yeah?
So it's been a while.
Yeah, I feel like that shuttle is kind of one of the best options right now, but
yes, it's a busy spot.
A lot of controversy around the vision plan and the idea of garages and all of that, but it's tough. I had a friend get stuck. She just parked in the wrong spot. It took her an hour to get out of the loop.
Wow. You can believe that.
So, you know, you can't be sitting there for an hour idling in your car with people at the park. That's not a great experience.
No, not at all.
Hot out there, though.
Speaking of great experiences.
We had a minor drop in our high temperature yesterday. I'll show it to you here in just a moment. Let's start out with the view from the Austonian. We are seeing some scattered clouds start to move into some of the area right now. Temperatures are in the upper 70s to low 80s. Yesterday, I had forecast 105, which would have tied a record. We got to 104, within 1 of the record, but still 6 degrees above normal, and the above normal high temperatures are going to continue for several days to come. Yesterday was not only the 34th day where the high temperature reached 100 or higher, it is also the 18th day consecutive day where we have been in triple digits. And now our hottest July to date is at 90.76. It's still first place, barely. Second place is last July in 2022. The 1st to the 25th had an average temperature of 90.72. All right, I think some of the numbers for the noon temperatures may be a touch too high because yesterday most of our noon readings were in the low to mid 90s, but I'm rather confident that we will be in that 101 to 105 temperature range as we get further into the afternoon between about 3 and 5 o'clock. Maximum heat indices will rise to around the same, about 101 to 105. We saw that in Lampasas and San Saba counties yesterday. Still, these two counties under the heat advisory. For San Saba County, it's until 8 o'clock. For Lampasas County, it's until 9. Those two counties handled by different National Weather Service offices. All right, high pressure remains over New Mexico for a few days. It'll head to the Four Corners, then go up into Colorado, and then eventually makes its way back to Texas. That high is going to allow some of that dust to come on into the area too. We see a plume of that here between now and Sunday. And then there may be still more to come. So the air quality forecast today is for moderate levels of the fine particulate matter. From the First Warning Weather Center, we'll go with a high today of 104 with a south to southeast wind at 5 to 10. And we'll have the 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
We'll look for it. Thank you, Rich. 3 teens are facing charges in Fayette County. Sheriff's Office says they're connected to multiple crimes, including vandalizing a church. The department says deputies received reports of a burglary at the Mullins Prairie Store and then vandalism at New Bethel Missionary Baptist Church. Investigators identifying all 3 suspects, 19-year-old Egan Rivers, 17-year-old Cody Parks, and 18-year-old Anthony Pate III. Sheriff's Office says all 3 turned themselves in. They were charged with burglary of a building and criminal mischief.
Another mosquito trap has tested positive for West Nile virus in Williamson County for the 8th time this year. The county says the sample was near Cat Hollow Park in Brushy Creek. There have not been any recorded cases of West Nile in humans in our area. There's
I'll take this one.
Okay.
It's 6:52, and there's a historic black cemetery just outside of LaGrange in Fayette County that a viewer tells us has essentially been abandoned. It's where a local Vietnam veteran was laid to rest alongside many others. Just off Highway 71, Dead End Road leads to the Mount Olive African Methodist Episcopal Cemetery. It's been around since the late 1800s and housing other veterans from World War II, also slaves. In Texas, there are 3 types of cemeteries: endowment, city government, and private, like this one here. And according to the Texas Cemeteries and Crematories Association, without associations designated to maintain private cemeteries, they become usually abandoned. Kathy Kubik visited the cemetery and left a small sign and American flag, hoping it doesn't get forgotten.
Is it just because it's an old African American cemetery? I mean, does nobody care? It hurts my heart.
Well, Bronny James, the eldest son of basketball superstar LeBron James, is recovering after suffering cardiac arrest during basketball practice on Monday. According to a statement released by a family spokesperson, James received immediate care from the athletic and medical staff at the University of Southern California. James is an incoming freshman with the USC Trojans. LeBron James and his family are asking for respect and privacy at this time.
Cardiac arrest continues to be a topic in the world of sports.
And as Noah Gross reports, one local coach of a homeschooled football team hasn't let that or anything else slow him down.
For Austin Royals head football coach Tracy Day, the passion for what he does is clear.
Hey, you got to stretch all the way across. I love the sport, but I love more than what the sport brings. I love what we get to impact kids with.
Back in 2014 on the practice field,
I looked at the coach and I said, you doing all right? He goes, yeah. He goes, are you doing okay? I said, no, I'm not. I'm starting to get a little light. He goes, you're getting a little white.
Day stayed on the football field about an hour, went home, and later that night felt something, as he says, weird in his chest, went to the hospital, where they told Day he'd had a heart attack.
Had a 100% blockage in my widowmaker, which is one you're not supposed to make it through.
Called by many a miracle, Day did months of rehab but was back out on the football field.
Never had any issues until the last one came up.
On November 1st, 2022, Day was talking to an assistant coach.
I'm not feeling too, and I didn't make it to good.
He doesn't remember anything after that. Coaches and a police officer administered CPR while EMTs had to shock Day twice to bring him back.
You were dead, and then you come back from that. It changes perspective. It gives you a totally different perspective on what's really, really important.
This time around, not a heart attack, but cardiac arrest on a football field, which may sound familiar.
Everybody's around him, and just hope that he's going to be okay.
About 2 months after Day's cardiac arrest, the same happened to Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin on national TV.
But when they said what happened, I knew. I was like, yeah, I've been there, done that.
Now,
Back.
like Hamlin,
There's my step.
Day is back on the field, appreciating every moment.
Experts tell NBC News that the age of the patient may play a big role in the cause of sudden cardiac arrest. For those younger than 35, the cause still not clear. Could be a result of genetic defects as well as heart malfunctions like a heart attack or problems with the heart's valves. Today marks a year until the 2024 Olympics in Paris. It marked the occasion by unveiling the official countdown clock in the French capital. There below the Eiffel Tower shows visitors the exact number of days, the hours, the minutes, and seconds until the games begin.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to take you live to Paris with the preparations and expectations for the Summer Games. That's exciting.
It certainly is. For those listening on our KXAN News Today podcast, happy to have you around. Here's what else we're tracking on KXAN News Today. What Austin could potentially do in a power struggle with the state over a law that's set to take effect in September.
Thanks for joining KXAN News Today. You can also listen to KXAN News Nightly every weekday after 5:30 p.m. for in-depth coverage on what matters most to you.